Hi Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your December 29th, 2020 full moon reading for you. Now I ask if this reading resonates with you. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also to subscribe to my channel. And if you would like to be notified whenever I upload new videos, and I upload all the time, then just click the bell notification button. And if you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will all be linked and listed in the description box below. Now, before we begin this reading, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from your body like storm clouds, letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as you enter into this safe and loving space. Now let's let the bowls sing as we see what the tarot has to say. How will Capricorn be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? How will Capricorn be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? How will Capricorn be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? How will Capricorn be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides, angels and spirit guides. Show me clearly, guide this reading, and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Ooh, okay. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. All right. So let's see what your chakra energy is for this time. How will Capricorn be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? How will Capricorn be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? How will Capricorn be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Awesome. All right. So we start off with truth, the throat chakra. Then we have Mother Earth, the Earth Star chakra, located 6 inches below your feet. Then we have personal power. This is the solar plexus chakra. And we have inner child, the heart chakra. That's powerful. That's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful lineup. So we're going to see how this correlates with not only the moon, but also with the tarot. So the left-hand side is your inner self. The middle is your heart, your emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. So let's see. We start off with the 10 of air, the 10 of swords, there we go. Then we have Sagittarius energy coming through. If you're born on the cusp with Sagittarius, this is going to be more profound, all right? Sagittarius energy is, of course, November 22nd to December 21st. Then we have the Queen of Fire, fire sign energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, connecting you again with the Sagittarius energy, but also with the full moon on the 28th of January in Leo. And then you have the 9 of air, the 9 of swords. Interesting. The Wheel of Fortune, the 2 of Wands, the 10 of Cups, the Knight of Air, air sign energy, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. The Queen of Air, oh, I love this, the Page of Air, the Queen of Swords and the Page of Swords, the Tower, and the 3 of Swords. Oh, are you ever getting something off your back? It's like something that has been too long weighing you down, stopping you, keeping you from moving forward the way that you want to, the way that you need to, stepping into the power that is you. You have the repeat of the number 10 here 3 times. So divinity is very much tapping you on the shoulder right here. You have a change in the public arena as you know your mind, as you know yourself, that is almost completely out of your control. Don't be afraid by it, but it is divinity sitting there, taking you out of your comfort zone and saying, this is the way you're going to move forward. Like, this is where I'm going to thrust you at this time. It's like, okay, like, all I see right now is this sense of like being pushed out on stage and just standing there like, oh my gosh, now what do I do? So there's this sense of having a change come at you, kind of like that. It's like, now what do I do? How do I move forward? Where is it that I want to be? You know, what am I supposed to do with this is more the sense like, what am I supposed to do with this? And that's where the truth comes in, the throat chakra, speaking your truth, being empowered by your truth, sitting there. And there's this plaque my mom had up on the wall when we were growing up, and I think she still has it, you know, and it says, live in such a way that if people would speak ill of you, nobody would believe them. You know, people wouldn't believe them. And so this is like walking in your truth and in your authenticity. And you might say, well, Dane, that's unrealistic. People are always so willing to believe the worst in people. And yes, they are. But there is a sense here of stepping into your truth, of being that beacon of power, just through the words and the way you craft them and the way you know, are empowered by your mind, the way that you look at things and the truth that is around you, your passion and your knowledge coming together. And it connects you with Mother Earth, because there is a sense here of wanting to live gently and softly and beautifully, right? And we want to live as the earth lives. But the earth also rages. I mean, there are tornadoes, there are hurricanes, there are blizzards, there are, you know, there's just so much, you know, tsunamis that come. I mean, and they're all terrifying. So the earth, though kind and gentle and caring and nurturing and holds us and cradles us, also pushes us to our limits at times and can be absolutely terrifying. And that's the energy that's around you as you connect. It's like you're not only here to be this calm, quiet, you know, serene being. You're also here to be a force of nature, a force of soul, a force of self. And as you embrace that duality within yourself, which is a huge part of this time, especially when it comes to your spirit animals and the way that you move forward, you're going to see that your personal power comes. It's like, wow, this is me. This is me embracing the sacred feminine, the sacred masculine, the sacredness of my life, of my truth, of my glory, of myself. This is me, you know, sitting there and seeing that there's worth here. There's worth within me. And you're really going to feel that around the 13th of January. And the 13th of January is the new moon, and the new moon is in Capricorn. So you're like in your element. And there's power here. It's like your hard work pays off. It hasn't all been for nothing. And there's a sense of you stepping into this power and stepping into this determination. And there's a purging. There's a purging of poison that has coursed through your veins too long. There's a purging of negativity that was spoken over you. It's like generational curses, which sounds so dramatic, which I love it and I don't like it in the exact same time. But I kind of love it because it sounds so big. And it is so big. Because the generational curse is something that was passed down from generation to generation. Of course, easy. But why? because you were raised by your parents, and your parents were raised by their parents, and their parents were raised by their parents, and so on and so forth, or whomever raised them. It trickled down, right? And then there's you. There's the inner child, and there's the you that you are today. And it's looking at the negativity that was spoken over you. It's looking at the fears that your parents had, that you or the people that raised you had, that you now embody. And it's looking at the doubts and the fears and the angers and the upsets. And it's also knowing that trauma is real, right? It really is real. And especially if your family line went through trauma, and it's relatively recently, that can lead to higher anxiety, that can lead to a greater sense, a greater inclination towards depression, that can lead to all these things that scientifically they're starting to see. It's like, wow, there's so much more to us than just our bones and our blood and our sinews and everything like that. There's so much more to us. There's a spirit too. And here, as you look at that inner child, and you look at everything that you've been through, it doesn't even have to be at home. It's everything that you've been through to get you to this point. It's the heartbreaks, it's the pains, it's the disappointments. And it's holding your arms open to that inner child and saying, I love you. And just feeling that child that you were, seeing that child, just for a moment, a meditation on seeing the child that you once were run into your arms, to be able to hold them, to be able to connect with them and say, I love you, I'm here for you. I take care of you. I will always take care of you. You're not worthless. You're not small. You're not insignificant. You grow into me. And I'm vastly important. Not in a way of hubris, but in the way of my life matters. And you embrace that within your heart. You embrace that love. You embrace that truth. And it becomes part of your power. It really does. And it moves you so beautifully into this full moon in Cancer. Because on the 29th of December, the full moon is in Cancer. And we surrender to the divine always. And we embrace the power. But this moon brings us full circle. And in 2020, you might sit there and be like, oh, do I want to come full circle in 2020? But think of the start of 2020. Think of ushering in the new year. Nobody expected the year to be quite as it is. Nobody expected it at all. And there's a sense here of seeing the hopes and the dreams that you started with coming forward. And instead of saying, oh, well, that was silly. I could never do that. It's like, it's seeing the power, it's seeing the brilliance, it's seeing the perfection that is you. And it's moving you forward in that truth. This is a time where you connect with the sacred feminine, because the sacred feminine is such a part of this moon. And it brings you a deep connection to what is vitally important to you. It's not what everybody else wants to be important to you, but it's the root of it all. It's family and friends and, emotional well-being and personal well-being and nourishing of the soul and of the self. And it says here, a personal issue reaches resolution. Because this is not a moon where you look outward. This is a moon where you look inward. This moon can also very easily pull you to look at everybody else's, wants and desires and needs at this time and put yours on the back burner. So do be mindful of that. Because this is a time where, if you let it, you can feel so in your own skin, Capricorn. It's like, this is a time where you feel like you've come home. Like you're wrapped in a nice warm blanket, drinking a nice cup of tea, cocoa, coffee, whatever it is that you like. And you're like, this is what it was all for, wasn't it? This is my truth and my power. And you can have moments like this throughout this time frame, from full moon to full moon, from the 29th of December to the 28th of January, where it's like, I feel like I came home. And you start acquiring and absorbing information that you need. You start listening to yourself holistically, spiritually, personally. And this is a time to trust your instincts and your intuitions, because they're going to be on point. And this is a time where you find yourself reaching out to others. Again, you're going to be like, I can pull you out of the darkness. This is going to be something to be mindful of, because there is a sense when we pull people out of the darkness that they haven't pulled themselves out. And so there can be resentment there. So just be mindful of that, because this moon is like, the heart is too big. The heart is so big, and you're connecting and you're like, yes. And what you have to realize, and what is the hard thing with this moon, is that everybody's on their journey, and you have the 10 of Swords and you have the 9 of Swords. And so there's a sense of pain inwardly. It's a sense of dealing with pain and hurt and disappointment, the nightmares, and looking at all the hardships that you have been through. And your first initial reaction is going to be, of any compassionate human being, I don't want you to have that sort of pain. And so you're going to come in and you want to be like, the white knight coming in and saying, I can rescue this. The only person we can rescue is ourselves. And that's a hard pill to swallow at times. But it is an important one. And you find that now as you reach out to others, you also have to reach out to yourself. And this is a time to embrace the sympathy, the compassion, the understanding that you have, and let it shine on you. Let it shine on your heart, your soul, yourself, because emotions run high. And as they run high, you find what is important, what you are to be aware of. You find what it is that you really want and you really need. But this can also make you really melancholy and nostalgic and sit there and think, oh, well, it was better when, and it was easier when, and if only I could turn back time, and if only I could. And it's like, no, stop. Because the past will cage you. It just will. Excuse me. And here, excuse me. And here, you're not caged. Like, that's what you're going to have to fight against. Is not a sense of, well, a feeling almost nihilistic. It's like, well, it's all happened anyway, or, what's the point of it all? We all end up in the same place. Like, why even bother? It's because there's greatness. There's greatness here. There's a balancing, and there's a passion, there's a fire that burns within you. This is a time, Capricorn, when you walk the right route of queens. For me, queens are the directors behind the scenes. Kings are the actors upon the stage. So you don't really need to be center stage during this time. You actually prefer to be behind the scenes. But as you embrace your heart, your soul, yourself, as you look at the bigger picture, you start to see a new start coming. You start to see new ideas coming forward, new beginnings guiding you, helping you, excuse me, transforming you. And you find yourself stepping into a new world. You find yourself stepping into a new truth, because the new moon is all about you. The new moon is in Capricorn, and it says your hard work pays off. It's like what you have been striving for, what you desire. It pays off. There's a reason for it. And you might have thought, there's no reason for any of this nonsense. It's one struggle after another, after another. It's one hardship after another, after another. We don't make it. Like, I don't get to make it. I don't get to be successful. My family line, we've never made it. We stay like this. And it doesn't matter how hard you try, you get shot down. No, that might have been somebody else's story. It's not yours. What you're doing here is you're finding, I'm checking my ego at the door. And that's going to be so important as you have the energy of the full moon in January around you. It's going to be around January 28th. It really starts to come in. It's going to be after the full moon in Capricorn comes forward. After you embrace the power of this moon, I see like 3 days. Yeah, 3 days afterwards, there's this sense of, well, why isn't things work? Why don't things work out the way that they're supposed to? Why can't I move forward this way? And it's like, don't let ego get in the way. Things happen in divine timing, which is so annoying to say, but so profoundly true. It's like, it is time to embrace the essence, the power, the beauty of you. And it's not to anybody else's clock. It's not to anybody else's time. And as you let the pride of others get out of your way, you move aside, as you let their ego, your ego, get out of the way, you find that you step into your truth. Because having a bit of pride is good. You're having pride in your work, having pride in your appearance, having pride in who you are. Those are good things. Like, nobody sits there and says, oh, well, I wish that person, smelt worse, kind of thing. It's sitting there and saying, this is the pride that I have in my love for myself. And that's not a bad thing. It's a bad thing when we take it to the extreme. But, nobody sits there and goes, oh, I wish for the days of medieval priests to come back where nobody bathed. Nobody thinks that. So here, there is this sense of moving forward in a power, but not in pride, in a sense of, this is my essence, and this is my beauty, and this is my truth. And it might not be conventional, and it might not be conforming to everybody else, but this is me. And it moves you here to not caring. It's not caring. It's not letting them drown you out. And as you step into that power, the owl spirit and the horse spirit of this time frame, of the spirit animals of this time frame of December, and I know we only have 3 days left in December, but they come forward, and it's so powerful, it's so beautiful, because the horse spirit brings you freedom. It says freedom is yours, and you're like, finally, this is my driving force. My driving force is to be free, is to step into the essence of my beauty. It's like to let myself run forward. And that's going to be a huge part of you. And you're looking at that. And then you have the owl spirit come in, which says you see clearly now. You see clearly what it is that you want, and where it is that you're heading, and what it is that you long for. And as you open up this door, the owl spirit stays with you. It is the spirit animal of December. It's also the spirit animal of January. But as the two come together, the horse spirit really kind of hits you hard. It packs a wallop and it says, what do you need to thrive in this world? What do you need to start feeling free? Now, it's not running away from our responsibilities and saying, oh, I want to join the circus type of thing. But it's looking at what the soul needs. And it's upholding the responsibilities that we accumulate along the way. And finding balance between the wild side of us and the practical side of us, the tame side of us. And it's finding harmony within our truth and, power within our soul in the sense of maybe I don't have to give up everything I am and everything I ever wanted to be what others expect me to be, or to be good at this one thing. Maybe I don't have to give up everything else. And you step into that power. You step into that truth. And strong emotions start coming up because you could think like, well, what if I'm terrible? Like, what if I'm doing it wrong? What if you're doing it right? And then it moves you to this strong connection with the energy around you. And the horse spirit brings strong sexual, sacred masculine energy forward. And it's like, time to create, time to cultivate, time to move forward, time to let this come. And you have the sacred feminine energy coming through time and time again here. And it's like, how do these come together? How do I work this sense of action with this sense of contemplation, this sense of, Spirit is saying here, nesting, this sense of building and creating with this sense of action and conquering. And so here you see clearly. You see and you have a higher level of intuition and you see what others can't. But do note, this is very important for everybody. It's like, it is frustrating when you see what others can't because you're going to see what's important to you that other people aren't seeing. But everybody else, they're seeing what's important to them. They're pulling out what's important to them that other people aren't seeing. So it kind of feels like nobody's seeing anything and or you're kind of seeing the same thing at times and you can kind of understand where they're coming from. It's like everybody's reading the same book, but it's all in a different language and everybody's getting frustrated because they don't know where it's coming from. So here, just be mindful of that because it's going to start signifying change. It's going to start giving you a sense of, well, why? Why am I doing this? And why am I struggling like this? And you're seeing beyond the deceits and the masks of others, and it's transforming you. It's changing you. It's empowering you. And you're seeing that it's time to face the shadows. It's time to look at what once scared you, what once, may have even repelled you because it was too overwhelming. And now you look at those shadows and you find wisdom within the silence. You find wisdom within the unknown. And it's time to hold onto your truth, onto the reason why you're here. And you might sit there and say, Dane, if I knew the reason why I was here, I wouldn't feel so lost and so overwhelmed all the time. But it's kind of like the reason why we're here is to put one foot in front of the other. It's to try and do good and to do better, And as you start to see how, you start to look at your talents and instead of saying, oh, well, everybody can do it, not everybody can. It's starting to see that, wow, there might be something kind of special about me. There might be something kind of beautiful. And as you step into that, you start to embrace your spiritual purpose, your spiritual power, the sense of being mightier than you thought. And as you step into the bear spirit, this is a spirit animal of might and of force and of strength, but also of great protection. It's challenging and channeling your confidence. And it's saying, well, I'm going to push you out of your comfort zone. Yes, mama bear spirit comes in, right? That protective, I can handle it all type of thing, or I will do anything, to make sure this is safe or these people are safe and, everything like that. But it also comes to the point where it's like, yes, but I also have to protect and nourish and move forward in myself and in my confidence and in my understanding. And this is a symbol of healing through solitude and meditation and rest and truth and looking at the seeds that you are planting in your heart and realizing that you're looking at the darkness before the dawn. You're looking at a precipice. It's like, yes, things can go one or two ways. Like you can fly or you can fall. But that's always when we take a risk, when we start to look at our world differently, at ourselves differently. You look at the 10 of air, the 10 of wands, no, not the wands, of swords, there we go. And this is something hard won. So we have the repeat of the number 10 crowning you. And 10 is a completion number. So it's a completion of the mind. The mind is forged, okay? When we learn as children, right? We go to school, we sit, we learn, we get information, we kind of have our realities broken and reshaped again. And that's what the 10 of swords does. And it's doing this here and with the Wheel of Fortune to make you into a queen, to make you into the Queen of Swords, into a person who is a warrior, to a person who knows their truth, who will not back down, who will not be silenced. And that's what you're embracing when you look at the Ten of Swords. It's like every single heartbreak, disappointment, stab in the back, upset, upheaval, anger that has happened. And you're like, why? I'm not doing this, And then there's the frustration. That's the darkness that comes in. And it's like, why? Why does it get to be a decade, 10 stinking years of anger, upset, upheaval? You have the Tower in there. So it can be 16 years of trying to make it, of having dreams, watching them fall, watching them fail, watching you fall, watching you fail. And it's like, why? And to say that you're forged, to say that you're shaped, is annoying. It is annoying, especially when you're walking through it. And it's like, well, this is shaping you for something better. Okay, great. Barely have 2 pennies to rub together, and I am so angry and I'm so sad that there is no light at the end of the tunnel. It's just one foot in front of the other. Sometimes it can feel like that, Capricorn. Sometimes it can feel like that, and there is a fire to you that is being brought out. It's the forge. And we are honed not by what we like. We sit there and we think, oh, this is so lovely. There's no reason to change. But it's when we're uncomfortable. It's when we don't like it that we're like, no, something needs to give. I change and I become. Because of all the hurts and all the pains and all the disappointments I have been through. They could be little. You could have one year that was so awesome, but there was this little thing that got under your skin, that hurt you, that disappointed you. And it changed you. It changed you a bit. And it brings you to temperance. It brings you to a balance. It's like, have patience. Time is over your heart. Time is with you. And it might feel like time's not with us. We sit there and we think, oh, well, if I don't do this by this time, it's kind of like if I don't fall in love and find the perfect person by this time, I'll never get there. If I don't have the perfect career by this time, I'll never get there. And we give ourselves time limits, and they feel so real. They feel so abundantly real when we're sitting there and it's like, well, now I've just failed. Now nothing's going to be good. And temperance is saying, have patience. Have patience. This is why it's called patience. Have patience. Things come into balance. Have patience. The sides of you need to balance out. It's like the public you and the inner you need to find your truth, need to move forward. That's why there's been hurts and there's been pains and there's been disappointments, because there needs to be a harmony to the soul, a power to the self that expands, that moves you forward, that brings you to something so much more. And so you see, with temperance in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, you have one cup pouring into another, pouring into another. And there's no water ever added. It's just the cups pouring into themselves. And that's what it is. Our emotional self. It's kind of like we are given our emotions. We are given our tendencies, our personalities. Yes, we can change them and sculpt them a bit. It takes a heck of a lot of work, but we can. But we have what we originate with. And we pour it into the day, and we pour it into the night. And we see how it evolves with us. We see how sweet that water is at times, and how bitter that water is at times. And we have patience as we become this precious being through hardships, pains, disappointments, loves, joys, successes, brilliance. And there needs to be that harmonizing factor, because you're entering into a place where you're looking at your heart, you're looking at your passion, you're looking at what you're bringing forward into the world, and you're rolling up your sleeves, Capricorn, and you're saying, this is me. This is what I want. This is what I desire. This is what I need. This is the fire that burns inside of me. What does it mean? And at times, it's so interesting. At times, we can feel like we found ourselves so exquisitely. And 5 seconds later, we can feel like we lost ourselves. So with the Queen of Wands, there's passion, there is brilliance, there's an illumination of the heart, and there's a power of the soul. And it has you looking, because here you're rooted. It's like you're crowned and you're rooted in your inner self with fear. It's not like you are crowned and rooted in your inner self with fear. And there's a sense here of how do I move forward? And where is it that I want to be? And what is it that I desire? And these are all the times that we failed. And everybody fails. I know we live in a world where every single photo is edited. Every single, thing is edited time and time again. So only the perfect comes forward. It's like only the most beautiful moments get to be seen. But that's not life. Life is ugly at times. And it's harsher and crueler than we want it to be. We want to sit there and believe that there is such beautiful good inside of every single person. And there is. But there's also beautiful darkness. And I know that to say beautiful darkness is kind of like an oxymoron. But there's the sense where you can be a perfect monster. And people have gone down that route and said, I'm going to be the perfect monster. And there's a sense here with the Nine of Swords of rising out of the gloom that says, well, maybe there's nothing. Maybe I don't get to be, the highest form of my being. And maybe I don't even get to be the monster because it's repellent. And maybe I get to be nothing. And there's no hope and there's no joy and there's only the pain and the sorrow. And I cry myself to sleep at night because I don't know how to move forward. You can have moments like that. You could have years like that. But even the moments are too much. But the moments set the fire. Because there is something here. Because you're rooted in air. You're rooted in your mind. There is something here that you are rising out of. There's a sense of you being a hero of your story quite exquisitely. You're slaying the dragon that hoards away your gifts. You're cutting through the poison, the beautiful poison of the world. Think of it as beautiful rose bushes. I always like to think of and I know I'm jumping, of the Knight of Air, the Knight of Swords, as Prince Charming in Sleeping Beauty. Because he comes down and he slays the dragon and he cuts through the brambles, the rose bushes, right? And he ascends the tower and he rescues the princess. And that's what we're doing with our lives. We are all Prince Charming. It's the sacred masculine energy coming forward to rescue the sacred feminine. And we slay the dragon. We slay when we hoard our gifts away and we say, oh no, oh no, that can't possibly see the light of day. We look at what man thinks is so important. Human beings think are so important. There's no reason a dragon needs, gold and jewels and maidens. It's silly. And so here we take what we value most and we bring it to the light. We cut through the brambles. We cut through the rose bushes that are beautiful. But if you get pricked enough by rose thorns, you can die. And that's the changing thing. That's what you're looking at here. It's like there's something that has shifted. And it's like I can either stay in sorrow and doubt and misery and hurt and pain and disappointment, or I can change the game. And that's really strong within you. It's like, I can change the game. I'm coming into a new season. Everybody needs a winter. Everybody needs a spring and a summer and a fall. Maybe not distinct, like maybe you just need a winter and a spring or, whatever. But there's a sense of needing that time of rest and then needing that time of growth and of strength. And so you're stepping into a new season now. And there is a sense here of, well, maybe I don't want to step into that season. Like I'm doing okay. Like things are okay, even though the mind is intense. It's like I can keep on plowing through, but you're having this change moving forward. You're having this power guide you, and it's a new dawn. It's a new day. It's a new change, and you're stepping into a new season of your soul, of yourself, of the way that you are moving forward, and it brings you to the world opening. It brings you to fire and to passion and to brilliance and to truth and to determination and to the sense of, this is where I need to be. You hold the world in your hand and you feel that emotionally. It's like emotionally things are changing. Emotionally, it is not the same. And you start to see emotionally, you hold the world in your hand. Your spirit is so much stronger, so much more powerful than you had thought it would be. And there's a sense here of moving forward in truth. There's a sense here of moving forward in determination. It's like, I'm not insignificant. And that's huge. It's like this moon is showing you that there's power here, there's brilliance, there's healing. And it brings you, as you hold the world in your hands, as you have had patience and you hold the world in your hands and you're like, I can move forward, can't I? I can have more than I imagined. And it doesn't mean monetarily. It means emotionally, spiritually. I can see myself. I can see myself moving forward. And I don't have to be stuck or silenced or beaten down. And that brings you to the happily ever after. That brings you to the 10 of Cups, and it's like, and they all live happily ever after. Joy and brilliance and beauty and love and just contentment coming forward. It's like, this is what the heart longs for. This is what every heart longs for. And it's different. It's different for each person. The person that one person will fall in love with and the person that another person will fall in love with is completely different. But it's part of their bliss. It's part of their story. And so here, it's embracing that. It's embracing that love and that brilliance, because you are slaying the dragons and you are expelling the poison and you are ascending the tower to awaken a part of you that has been silenced for too long, to awaken a part of you that is vitally important and often overlooked because it isn't as boisterous, it isn't as, forceful as some think it should be. But it doesn't have to be. This is a time where you slay what has been, you slay the part of your mind, and it comes back. It's like a hydra, right? You cut off one head and, another comes up, or two more come up. And there's a sense here of there will be times of doubts and of fears and of regrets and of thinking, how do I move forward and where is it that I want to be? And oh my goodness. But you start to conquer it. And it's like, wow, I can conquer this and it doesn't have to conquer me. And so there's power here. And it moves you as you take the reins and as you know your mind, because the sword is the only weapon in the tarot. You can argue and kind of say, okay, the wand is, but the wand is also a walking staff. It can also be a tree. It can be depicted in many other ways. A sword is usually depicted as simply a sword. And so here, as you move forward, it's like you're honing this weapon, the weapon of the mind. We look at air and we also think of birds, but what do we think of when we see birds? What is in Leonardo da Vinci's notebook of how to fly? There's sketches of birds, right? So here, there is a sense of freedom. And it's rooting you, and there's a sense of freedom, but the doubt and the negativity and the anger and everything that you have been through, it's weighing you down. It's like lead shoes and trying to swim. It's like, it won't happen. But there's the queenliness here, the wisdom of the owl that has been with you through December and through January. And there's the sense of embracing your knowledge, embracing your greater understanding of being nobody's fool. The Queen of Swords is a warrior, because swords are meant for battle. People were rewarded back in the day, right? Back in ancient times with swords. You would get a sword and your family would be elevated. In medieval times and in ancient times, nobody was allowed to wield a sword who was not of nobility. And so here, there is power, there is might to you wielding the sword, the power of the mind, the beauty of your truth, the elegance and eloquence of the words, of the truth that you speak, of the throat chakra that you embrace. And so you cut through the doubts, the fears, the angers, the upsets. It doesn't mean that they're gone. It means that you look at them and you say, well, rage can power me forward, most definitely. And I am moving into this place where not only am I, the ruler, the monarch of who it is that I need to be, but I'm also the student. I am also the seeker. I am also the questioner. I am also the person who wants to learn how better to wield the weapon that is the mind. Who wants to learn how I am gifted and how I can move forward and what it is that are my strengths, and understanding my weaknesses and not seeing them as my devastations. Because as you do this, you face the tower time. You face what divinity has so brilliantly, pushed you out of your comfort zone for and said, fly. And you're like, well, how? How? It's like, just do it, right? The original Nike commercial, right? Just do it. Just move forward. And so we have these tower times. And we try our hardest to put them back together, to put everything back together as it once was. When divinity pushes you out of your comfort zone, when divinity changes the scene, there is no going back. And that's really hard. That is a hard, jagged, awful pill to swallow. Where it's like, how do I now? How do I live? How do I become? How do I embrace? And so what we have here with the tower is that it's not through force. It's not through anger. It is through this understanding. It is through compassion. And even, I know it sounds contradictory because Spirit said, anger fuels you and it moves you forward. but it's not through anger, And I'm like, well, wait. But it's not through being angry, being robbed, being, enraged. It's not living in anger. It is sitting there and acknowledging the anger inside of you and saying, I see you. And believe me, I hear you. And it hasn't been fair. And it has been a long and hard road. And I give you power. And I embrace that voice within me. But I will not try to fix what is shattered by shattering it more through rage and through destruction. And so it's looking at things and it's saying, I will slowly and I will gently start to put these pieces back together. And what once could have been a beautiful stained glass window that fell now becomes a mosaic, now becomes a different work of art, but still exquisite in its beauty and powerful in its message. And that's what you are, a beautiful work of art, exquisite in your beauty, powerful in your message, but forever transforming. You will not stay the same. And that's part of the reason for being here. And it leads you to the Three of Swords: heartbreak, pain, and disappointment. Anger, upsets, the things that we turn to, the nagging words inside of our heads that say, oh yeah, you think you can? Well, your father never believed in you, your mother never believed in you, your sister never believed in you. What makes you think? The teacher told you were stupid. Your ex left in your face. What makes you think? And those are the things that are rage-filled, right? That, spurt you forward. After you sit there and say, oh yeah, they're right. And you're like, oh yeah, I'll show you. But it's not shattering it more. It's building. It's growing. It's becoming. It's looking at the hurts and the pains and saying, I'm not hiding you away in the recesses of my mind because I'm ashamed. I'm looking at you and I'm honoring you because I honor the me that went through it. I honor me. And I am transformed because of that. Because I'm not hiding any part of me away anymore. I honor me. I am empowered by me. I'm beautiful. I'm strong. And I hold my head up with pride. Because here, the birds wear the crowns. Because here, slowly and gently and beautifully I will fly. And it brings you to the moon's message. How will Capricorn be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? How will Capricorn be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? How will Capricorn be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. How will Capricorn be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? How will Capricorn be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? How will Capricorn be affected by the December 29th, 2020 full moon? Angels and spirit guides. Ooh, show me clearly. Okay. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. The unexpected, will, and hunger. You hunger for it. You do. And it's cool because the wolf moon is the full moon in January. It's called the wolf moon. And you're hungering for what's coming. And that's why it's saying here. And it's so important not to let the pride get in the way. Not to let everybody else's opinions and everybody else's expectations and your opinions and your expectations get in the way of how things organically unfold. And it doesn't mean that you like sit on the couch eating chips and like, okay, that's great. It means that you let divinity have a hand in it. You let grace walk with you as you walk with it. And then it brings you to change. Take time to breathe out. Balance spirituality and practicality. Work through your fears. Confidence is your key to success. Luck is on your side. So that's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. You have here the unexpected. The unexpected takes you out of the darkness into the patient, beautiful realization of the balance within, of the balance in truth. And it brings you then to the will of the Queen of Wands, to the will of your fire, to the will of your determination, the will of your heart, the will of your passion, the will of why you are here. And you hunger. You hunger to be rid of the nightmares. You hunger to be free as a bird, to fly, to soar, to become, and to exist, right? Truly and honestly and transcendentally, you. And you call to that hunger. And it changes you because you let it have a space within your life. And you enter into a new season and you start to see the world opening. And as you enter into this season and the world opens, you take time to breathe out. You take time to embrace the 10 of Cups, to embrace your idea of happiness and joy, success and beauty. And as you become this warrior, this knight of your truth, you balance spirituality with practicality. You balance the warring sides within you. You give them voice and you give them reason. You give them homage. And you move forward, in a sense saying, okay, I know I'm going to make mistakes. That's obvious. But I move forward in the truth and in the power of what I have now. And it will transform and it will become, and it always is. But I move forward in that. And it leads you to working through fears as you are this queen, as you are this warrior queen. And as you find yourself a student and a queen at the exact same time. You find yourself a ruler and a subject, and you look at that dichotomy, you look at that power, and you call upon your wisdom. You call upon everything that has shaped you. And you see the fears. And you say, you know what? You don't get to be stopping me anymore. And through those tower times, through the time of being pushed so far out of your comfort zone, you couldn't even believe it. The confidence is your key to success. It's not pride, it's confidence. You have a very strong connection to the Leo moon. Confidence guides you. The sense of knowing your worth. And you take aim as you release the pain, because luck is on your side. Your subconscious Luna message is patience. Just as the temperance patience said, the Sagittarius energy said, have patience. You're going to want everything to happen right away. Divinity has a timing. Divinity has a reasoning. Divinity has a place. Let it be a part of you. Because you're going to find that you move to a place, you move in a way that you hadn't thought possible. It leads you to communication being key. Key to your success. Communicating to yourself what it is that you desire, what it is that you want, how it is that you want to move forward. Communicating with the world at large. It's going to be so important to you. And the truth that this moon brings forward is so important to you. It brings you to your subconscious chakra message, which is psychic development. The third eye opens. The third eye opens and you start to have really brilliant instincts. You start to hear your angels speaking to you. You start to see answers in the wind and to listen to the harmony of your soul. And it brings you to your subconscious tarot message, which is the Empress, which is claiming your throne and knowing your truth. You have the repeat of the number 3 within this reading. Divinity walks with you. This is claiming a voice you never knew you lost. This is claiming a throne you never knew you were supposed to sit on. This is power, and this is truth, and this is determination. This is so much more than you expected. This is being pregnant with possibilities. Creative, spiritual, personal, powerful possibilities. And it's not looking at that imaginary clock that says things have to be done like this at this time, or else you're doing it wrong. No, it's looking at yourself and saying, when I stand here, is the exact right time for me. All right, Capricorn, I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I am sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy. As you breathe out, as you release so much of the pain and the hurt and the disappointments that you have carried for too long, as you see the fire and the beauty and the light of your will moving you forward in love and grace, as you embrace the unexpected, and as you take aim to your dreams. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Capricorn, and may you have a blessed moon.